The darkness of space surrounded the small research vessel as it drifted near Jupiter's orbit. Inside, Alex Mason checked his equipment readings one last time before sending his daily report back to Earth. As the ship's lone occupant, he had grown used to the quiet. 6 months into his mission studying Jupiter's atmospheric anomalies, Alex had settled into a comfortable routine. Control. This is Mason. Day 184. Readings are stable. Magnetic fluctuations remain within expected parameters. Sending data package. Now. Alex pressed the transmit button and leaned back in his chair. At 35, he had left behind a promising career as a Navy SEAL to pursue his first love, biochemistry. His military background had made him an ideal candidate for solo space missions, combining physical resilience with scientific expertise. As he waited for Control's acknowledgement, Alex noticed something unusual on his radar. A large object had appeared seemingly from nowhere, its size dwarfing his research vessel. Control, I'm picking up an unidentified object. Approximately 2 kilometers in length, no matching profile in our database. Please advise. Only static answered him. The communication system had gone dead. Alex reached for the emergency protocols manual when the ship lurched violently. The stars outside his viewport began to stretch and blur. Whatever had appeared was pulling his ship toward it with incredible force. Alex rushed to the pilot controls, but nothing responded. The ship's systems went dark one by one. As his vessel was swallowed into a massive opening in the side of the alien craft, Alex's training kicked in. He quickly gathered essential supplies, a small knife hidden in his boot, emergency rations, and a portable water purifier. Years of SEAL training had taught him to prepare for the worst. The research vessel came to a sudden stop inside a vast hangar. Alex felt a strange, tingling sensation. Then blackness took him. He awoke on a cold metal surface. The air smelled wrong, too rich in oxygen with hints of sulfur. Opening his eyes, Alex found himself in a transparent cell. Beyond its walls, tall reptilian creatures moved purposefully around a laboratory filled with equipment he couldn't recognize. The aliens stood nearly 7 feet tall with scaled skin in shades of green and blue. They had elongated heads with 4 yellow eyes and moved with an unsettling grace. Alex counted 6 of them, all wearing fitted garments embedded with glowing technology. One alien approached his cell and studied him. It touched a panel, and an opening appeared in the transparent wall. "Remain still, human specimen," it said in surprisingly good English, though the voice had an unnatural hiss. "Resistance will result in pain." Alex considered fighting but decided against it. He needed information first. 2 aliens entered, securing his arms with metal cuffs that adhered to his skin without locks or seams. They guided him to an examination table and secured him firmly. The human shows unusual muscle density, one alien noted to another. Previous specimens were weaker. "This will not matter," the second replied. "Its brain capacity remains limited. All humans are simple creatures." Alex kept his face neutral while his mind raced. They had encountered humans before. They thought humans were unintelligent. This misconception might prove useful. A female alien approached. Alex could tell by her slightly different body structure and voice pitch. She held a device that hummed as she passed it over his body. "Interesting genetic markers," she said. "This specimen has uncommon resilience. It may survive longer than the others." The others. Alex felt a chill. How many humans had these creatures taken? "Krevna, prepare it for neural inhibitor implantation," ordered an older alien who had just entered. His scales were darker, with patterns that suggested authority. "Yes, Senior Scientist Vexlar," Krevna responded. She brought a thin, metallic device to Alex's neck. He felt a sharp pain as it burrowed under his skin at the base of his skull. "Neural pathways now accessible," Krevna reported. "Inhibitor functioning at optimal levels." A strange fog settled over Alex's thoughts, but he pushed against it. His SEAL training had included resistance to mind-altering drugs and psychological pressure. He kept his eyes unfocused and his body limp, pretending the device had worked fully. "Take it to holding area 3, Vexlar ordered. Begin adaptation. Protocols tomorrow. This specimen will serve in the primary research facility. Alex was moved to a small cell containing only a sleeping platform and a water dispenser. Once alone, he tested his mental control. The inhibitor made his thoughts sluggish, but through meditation techniques, he could keep his mind relatively clear. The aliens had underestimated human resilience. Days blended together as Alex was taught simple tasks. He cleaned laboratory equipment, carried supplies, and assisted with basic maintenance, all while watching, learning, and listening. The aliens, who called themselves the Vralthax, spoke freely around him, assuming he couldn't understand their complex language. But Alex's ear for languages, developed during multiple military deployments, allowed him to gradually piece together their speech patterns. He learned the Vralthax ruled a vast empire spanning multiple star systems. They considered themselves superior to all other species, using lesser beings for labor and research. Most disturbing, Alex discovered he wasn't on a ship anymore, but on Zorkath, the Vralthax homeworld. 3 months after his capture, Alex was working in the main laboratory when he overheard a conversation between Vexlar and another senior scientist. The genetic degradation accelerates, the other scientist said. Birth rates fell another 12% this cycle. All test subjects have failed to provide compatible genetic material. Vexlar replied, without intervention, our species faces extinction within 6 generations. Alex kept his head down, but his mind raced with this new information. The mighty Vralthax were dying out. They were capturing species across the galaxy, searching for genetic compatibility to save themselves. Later that day, as Alex cleaned laboratory equipment, Krevna approached him. Human, she said quietly, you understand more than you show. Alex froze. His heart pounded as he considered his options. Denial might lead to more invasive neural tampering. The truth might get him killed, or provide an opportunity. Yes, he admitted softly. I understand. Krevna's 4 eyes blinked in. Rapid succession, surprise. Fascinating, she whispered. The inhibitor should prevent this. Your species is more complex than our studies suggested. We are, Alex said. My name is Alex Mason. I'm a biochemist. I study life science. Perhaps I could help with your genetic problem. Krevna stared at him for a long moment. You would help those who enslaved you? I would help prevent extinction, Alex replied carefully. No species deserves to disappear completely. What he didn't say was that understanding their biology might also reveal their weaknesses. One human, properly positioned, might make all the difference for Earth's future. Krevna moved closer. If others discover your awareness, you will be terminated, but your knowledge could be valuable. She hesitated before adding, I will return tomorrow. We will speak more then. As she walked away, Alex allowed himself a small smile. The first piece in his mental chess game had moved. The Vralthax had made a critical mistake. They had enslaved one human, the wrong human. And now, their fate rested in his hands. Alex woke before the facility's artificial dawn. He sat cross-legged on his sleeping platform and practiced the breathing exercises that helped him fight the neural inhibitor's effects. After 3 months in captivity, he had developed a routine that kept his mind sharp despite the device attached to his brain. The door to his cell slid open. A Vralthax guard entered and gestured for Alex to follow. Instead of heading to the main laboratory where he usually worked, they took an unfamiliar path through the research facility. They arrived at a smaller private lab where Krevna waited alone. Leave us, she told the guard. I require uninterrupted time with this specimen. When the guard left, Krevna turned to Alex. We have 6 hours before questions arise about your location. I have disabled the surveillance in this room. Why are you helping me? Alex asked. Krevna's scales shifted color slightly. An emotional response Alex had learned to recognize as discomfort. Our species follows a flawed path, she said. We conquer and enslave rather than learn and connect. This approach has brought us to the edge of extinction. She moved to a computer terminal. Look at this data. The screen showed complex genetic structures breaking down over generations. Even with his biochemistry background, Alex struggled to understand the alien genetics. Our reproductive rates have fallen by 87% in the past century, Krevna explained. Without intervention, the last Vralthax will be born within 200 years. And you're capturing species across the galaxy looking for compatible DNA, Alex said. Yes. We've tested thousands of species. None have provided what we need. She looked directly at Alex. Until possibly yours. Alex felt a chill. Human DNA is compatible with Vralthax? Not exactly compatible, Krevna clarified. But human genetic material contains unique repair mechanisms our scientists believe might be adapted to fix our degradation. She paused. Your species has remarkable genetic resilience. Alex processed this information carefully. How many humans have you taken? 27 over the past 2 Earth years. Most did not survive the testing procedures. Krevna's voice held a note of regret. You are the most promising specimen yet. Alex kept his anger controlled. 27 people kidnapped and killed for alien experiments. He needed to stay focused on survival and escape. I meant what I said yesterday, Alex said. I can help you understand human biology better than your tests. I'm a biochemist. I study the chemistry of living organisms. Krevna seemed surprised. What is your specialization? Enzyme interactions and genetic repair mechanisms, Alex replied, grateful for his scientific background. It wasn't a lie. Before joining the Navy SEALs, he had earned his doctorate in biochemistry. Krevna's 4 eyes blinked rapidly, the Vralthax equivalent of astonishment. That is, exactly the field relevant to our research. Not a coincidence, Alex said. I was studying Jupiter's radiation effects on biological samples when you captured me. For the next 5 hours, Alex and Krevna exchanged information. She showed him the Vralthax genetic structure and explained their reproductive cycle. Alex provided insights about human DNA repair mechanisms. He was careful not to share everything he knew, keeping certain details to himself that might be useful later. Your understanding is impressive, Krevna said finally. I must return you to your regular duties, but I will arrange for us to meet again. Wait, Alex said. I need to know more about this facility. How many other species are kept here? Is there any way to contact Earth? There are 16 other species currently housed in this research center, Krevna replied. As for contacting your planet, any transmission would be detected immediately. The penalty would be death for both of us. As they prepared to leave, Krevna handed Alex a small metallic object. Hide this. It will temporarily disable your neural inhibitor for short periods. Use it carefully. Irregular brain patterns will trigger alarms. Alex concealed the device in the lining of his uniform. Thank you. Do not mistake this for friendship, human, Krevna said. I simply recognize that your willing cooperation will yield better results than forced experimentation. In the following weeks, Alex was moved to a new section of the facility. His duties now included assisting with actual research rather than just cleaning. This gave him access to more information and contact with other enslaved species. The Meklari were small, 4-armed beings with skin like burnished copper. They maintained the facility's complex machinery. The Quan were tall, slender aliens with pale blue skin who could communicate telepathically with their own kind. Other species worked throughout the facility, all controlled by neural inhibitors, similar to Alex's. During one maintenance task, Alex was paired with a Meklari named Tick. While they worked together repairing air filtration systems, Alex risked communication. How long have you been here? He asked quietly. Tick glanced around nervously. 12 cycles. You speak? Inhibitor not working? Alex tapped his head discreetly. I can resist it sometimes. The Vralthax don't understand humans well. Dangerous? Talk? Tick whispered. His 4 hands continued working without pause. Vralthax kill if they discover. Have any slaves ever escaped? Alex asked. No escape from Zorkath, Tick replied. But rumors of resistance in outer colonies. Nothing here. Their conversation ended as a guard approached. But a connection had been made. During his next private session with Krevna, Alex learned more about the Vralthak's genetic testing. We believe the solution lies in this enzyme structure, Krevna explained, showing Alex a molecular model. It appears in human cells but not in any other tested species. Alex recognized the enzyme immediately. It was indeed unique to humans, involved in DNA repair after radiation damage. But he also noticed something Krevna hadn't. This enzyme would interact catastrophically with a particular protein common in Vralthak's DNA. If they tried to incorporate it without modification, it would accelerate their genetic degradation rather than repair it. This knowledge was power. Alex decided to keep this critical observation to himself. I need access to my own genetic material to show you how this works, Alex said. Could you arrange that? Krevna hesitated. That would require authorization from senior scientist Vexlar. Then let's convince him, Alex suggested. Tell him I've been showing unusual aptitude for laboratory work. It's not a lie. 3 days later, Alex stood before Vexlar in the main laboratory. The senior scientist studied him with cold, calculating eyes. Krevna claims you show potential as a research assistant rather than merely a test subject, Vexlar said. This is highly irregular. Alex kept his expressions dull and submissive while his mind worked at full speed. The specimen has demonstrated remarkable pattern recognition, Krevna explained. Its previous function on Earth involved similar research. Very well, Vexlar decided. You may use it for preliminary analysis, but remember, this changes nothing. The human remains a resource to be used for the salvation of our species. As Vexlar walked away, Alex felt a surge of hope. He now had access to laboratory equipment and his own genetic samples. The Vralthaks had just given him the tools he needed to begin his plan. They still saw him as just a useful specimen, not recognizing the danger of allowing one human to understand their greatest weakness. 2 months passed as Alex worked in the laboratory. He gained the trust of more Vralthak scientists who saw him as an unusually clever tool. With access to sophisticated equipment, Alex carefully manipulated his own genetic samples. He created subtle alterations that would mislead the Vralthak's research in critical ways. The enzyme extraction process is complete, Alex told Krevna as they worked alone in the lab. But this batch shows unusual properties. Krevna examined the results on her screen. These readings don't match our previous analysis. Human genetics are complex, Alex explained. The enzymes change based on environmental factors. This version might be more compatible with Vralthak's biology. It was a calculated deception. The modified samples would initially appear promising but would ultimately fail in a way that wouldn't raise suspicion. Alex needed time, and each failed experiment bought him more of it. When not in the laboratory, Alex expanded his network among the other enslaved species. He used his neural inhibitor disabler sparingly, activating it only during critical conversations. The Meklari technician Tick became his most valuable ally. Power systems have access points here, here, and here, Tick explained, drawing a basic map during a maintenance shift. His 4 hands moved quickly, sketching and erasing before guards could notice. Emergency protocols would activate backup systems within 60 seconds. That's enough time, Alex whispered. Can you create a localized failure that wouldn't trigger facility-wide alarms? Tick's copper-colored skin rippled, his species equivalent of a nod. Possible. Need specific tools. Difficult to obtain. I can help with that, Alex replied. Working in the lab gave him access to items that could be modified for other purposes. Alex also made contact with a Quan named Say. The telepathic aliens couldn't read minds across species, but they could sense emotional states and communicate silently among themselves. My people suffer greatly here, Say told Alex during a rare moment without guards nearby. 7 of us remain from 23 taken. The rest died during neural experiments. The Vralthaks are desperate, Alex said. Their species is dying. That makes them dangerous but also vulnerable. What do you propose, human? Say asked. Not a violent uprising, Alex explained. We're outnumbered and outgunned, but we can create confusion, gather information, and find a way to contact our homeworlds. Alex's plan developed slowly. Each enslaved species contributed unique knowledge. The Mechlari understood the facility's systems. The Quan could coordinate activities without speaking. A gaseous species called the Vril could travel through ventilation systems, carrying small objects between sections. During this time, a new figure took interest in the research. Commander Drazkor, a high-ranking military officer, began making regular visits to the laboratory. Tall even for a Vralthax, with dark green scales and scarred faceplates, Drazkor watched the experiments with cruel intensity. The military grows impatient, Alex overheard Drazkor telling Vexillar. Your scientific approach takes too long. We need results. Genetic manipulation cannot be rushed, Vexillar replied. Premature implementation could accelerate our extinction, rather than prevent it. Then perhaps we need more specimens, Drazkor suggested. A larger sample of humans might yield better results. The thought of more humans being captured and experimented on strengthened Alex's resolve. He needed to accelerate his plans. During his next session with Krevna, Alex noticed a change in her behavior. She seemed agitated, her scales shifting colors rapidly. Commander Drazkor has ordered new protocols, she explained. More invasive procedures are scheduled to begin tomorrow. I do not agree with this approach, but I cannot prevent it. What kind of procedures? Alex asked. Deep tissue sampling, neural pathway mapping. They will be extremely painful, possibly fatal. Krevna's voice dropped. I believe Drazkor suspects you are more valuable than we've acknowledged. He wants to understand how you've assisted our research so effectively despite the neural inhibitor. Alex knew his time was running out. Krevna, I need your help. Not just for myself, but for your people too. What do you mean? The enzyme therapy your scientists are developing based on my samples. It won't save your species. It will destroy it faster. Krevna's 4 eyes widened. You've been sabotaging our research? Not sabotaging, Alex corrected. Preventing a catastrophe. The unmodified human enzyme would interact with Vralthax DNA in ways your scientists haven't recognized. I can show you the correct approach, but not if Drazkor dissects my brain. Krevna stared at him, conflict evident in her changing scale patterns. If what you say is true, it is. And I can prove it, Alex said. But first, I need your help with something else. My neural inhibitor. It needs to be fully disabled, not just temporarily. That would trigger alarms, Krevna said. Not if you recalibrate the system to accept my brainwave patterns as normal. Alex had learned enough about Vralthax technology to know this was possible. After long consideration, Krevna agreed. I will help you, but if you're lying to me, I'm not, Alex assured her. This benefits both our species. That night, Krevna entered Alex's cell after the facility's night cycle began. She carried specialized equipment that she used to access his neural inhibitor. This will be uncomfortable, she warned before beginning the procedure. Pain shot through Alex's head as Krevna worked. When she finished, the constant fog that had partially clouded his thoughts for months lifted completely. His mind felt clear and sharp for the first time since his capture. It's done, Krevna said. The system now recognizes your enhanced brain activity as normal. Thank you, Alex replied, genuinely grateful. Now prove your claims about the enzyme therapy, Krevna demanded. The next day, with his full mental capabilities restored, Alex demonstrated to Krevna how the unmodified human enzyme would react with Vralthax DNA. Using the laboratory's simulation software, he showed the catastrophic breakdown that would occur within 3 generations. This is why your previous test subjects failed, Alex explained. The enzyme needs to be modified like this to be compatible. He displayed an alternative approach that would actually work. Krevna was stunned. Our scientists missed this entirely. We would have caused our own extinction by attempting to prevent it. Now you understand why I had to be careful, Alex said. But there's something else you should know. Commander Drazkor doesn't just want to save your species. From what I've overheard, he plans to use this research to enhance Vralthak's military capabilities. He sees other species as resources to be exploited, not potential allies. Before Krevna could respond, alarms blared throughout the facility. The lights dimmed momentarily. It's starting, Alex said. We don't have much time. What's starting? Krevna asked, confused. The power fluctuation tick arranged. It will only last 60 seconds. Alex moved quickly to a communication terminal. I need to send a message to Earth. As Krevna watched in shock, Alex accessed the facility's long-range communication array and rapidly encoded a data packet containing everything he had learned about the Vralthaks, their location, technology, and most importantly, their biological weakness. The message was sent just as power returned to normal levels. Now Earth would know. They wouldn't be caught unprepared if the Vralthaks attacked. And Alex had just taken his first real step toward freedom, not just for himself, but for all the enslaved species of Zorkath. The facility erupted into chaos. Security alarms blared as Vralthak's guards rushed to identify the source of the unauthorized transmission. Alex and Krevna hurried from the communication terminal, trying to avoid suspicion. What have you done? Krevna hissed, her scales flashing with fear patterns. If they trace that signal back to us, they won't, Alex assured her. Tick modified the system logs. The transmission will appear to have come from a maintenance node in another section. Alex had planned this moment carefully over months of preparation. They returned to the lab just as Vexillar entered, his posture rigid with alarm. Someone has breached our communication security, the senior scientist announced. All research personnel must remain at their stations while security conducts an investigation. Alex resumed his work as if nothing had happened, but inside, his heart raced. The message he had sent to Earth contained everything humanity would need. The location of the Vralthak's homeworld, details of their technology, and most crucially, information about their genetic vulnerability. Commander Drazkor stormed into the laboratory an hour later, flanked by armed guards. His scales were dark with rage. Someone in this facility has committed treason, he snarled. An unauthorized transmission was sent toward the human home system. His 4 eyes scanned the room, lingering on Alex. The military command suspects sabotage. Alex kept his expression neutral, pretending to be just another docile slave. Drazkor approached him, towering menacingly. This specimen has had too much freedom, Drazkor said to Vexillar. I am taking it for detailed neural examination. That would be unwise, Commander. Vexillar objected. This human is crucial to our current research phase. Your research has yielded too little, too slowly, Drazkor replied. The military will take control of this specimen now. Krevna stepped forward. Commander, I must protest. Interrupting our work now could set us back months. Drazkor ignored her, motioning for his guards to seize Alex. As they approached, the laboratory lights suddenly flickered and died. Emergency lighting cast the room in an eerie red glow. In the confusion, Alex acted. Using combat techniques from his SEAL training, he disabled 2 guards with quick, precise strikes. He had been deliberately concealing his true physical capabilities, just as he had hidden his intelligence. Security breach in laboratory section, Drazkor shouted into his communication device. All available units respond. Alex knew he couldn't fight his way out of the entire facility. That had never been his plan. Instead, he grabbed a small vial from his workstation, a sample he had prepared weeks ago containing modified human enzymes. Krevna, he called. Show them. Understanding immediately, Krevna activated the laboratory's main display screen. The simulation Alex had shown her earlier appeared, demonstrating how unmodified human enzymes would accelerate Vralthak's genetic degradation. What is this? Vexillar demanded, momentarily distracted from the chaos. The truth, Krevna explained urgently. Our current approach to the genetic therapy is flawed. It would destroy our species faster, not save it. Drazkor laughed harshly. A convenient claim during an obvious escape attempt. It's not an escape attempt, Alex said, stepping into the center of the room. He had disabled his neural inhibitor's outward indicators using knowledge gained from Tick. To the Vralthax, he suddenly appeared fully aware and intelligent. It's a revelation. The laboratory doors sealed shut as more guards gathered outside. Alex had minutes at most. I could have escaped many times over the past months, Alex continued. Instead, I studied your genetics, your society, your weaknesses. I found the true solution to your genetic degradation, not the flawed approach your scientists were pursuing. Vexlar moved closer to the display, his scientific curiosity overcoming his caution. This simulation, these interactions, they appear correct. They are correct, Alex confirmed. The human enzyme your scientists identified must be modified to be compatible with Vralthax biology. Otherwise it acts as a genetic poison. Lies, Drazkor insisted. This is a desperate deception. Then explain why all your previous human test subjects failed, Alex challenged. Why did those experiments accelerate genetic breakdown rather than repair it? Your own data confirms what I'm showing you. Krevna brought up historical experiment, records on another screen. He's right, Commander. Look at these results from the previous human subjects. The data clearly showed genetic deterioration following each attempted treatment. Vexlar studied the information with growing alarm. If this is true, the senior scientist said slowly, our entire research approach has been fundamentally flawed. And you've been implementing preliminary treatments based on this approach for months, Alex added. Low-dose enzyme therapies for Vralthax volunteers. Drazkor's scales paled slightly, a sign of shock. He had been among those volunteers. The pounding on the laboratory doors grew louder. They wouldn't hold much longer. You sent a transmission to Earth, Drazkor accused, his voice deadly quiet. You revealed our location to your people. Yes, Alex admitted. Because your military planned to capture more humans for experiments that would only lead to your extinction. I had to warn them. Then you've doomed us all, Drazkor snarled. Humans will seek revenge for their captured kind. Not necessarily, Alex countered. Humans are capable of mercy, something your military seems to have forgotten. I've also sent them the correct enzyme modification protocol. We could help you if you recognize us as equals rather than specimens. The laboratory doors burst open. Armed guards flooded in, weapons aimed at Alex. Arrest the human, Drazkor ordered, and anyone who assisted it. Wait! Vexlar raised his hand. Commander, if what the human says is true, we must verify it before taking action. The future of our species could depend on this information. A tense standoff followed. Alex stood calmly, the vial of modified enzymes still in his hand. He had one final card to play. Your scientists have already begun implementing the flawed treatment, he said. Every day that passes, more damage is done. I hold the only working sample of properly modified enzymes. He lifted the vial. Kill me, and you kill your species. The bold claim hung in the air. Drazkor's hand hovered over his weapon. Test it, Alex suggested. Compare it to your current formula. Verify everything I've said. Vexlar looked to Krevna, who nodded confirmation. We should test his claims, Commander. If he's right. After long consideration, Drazkor lowered his weapon slightly. You will remain under maximum security while we verify this information. If you've lied, your death will be extremely unpleasant. Fair enough, Alex agreed. As guards surrounded him, Alex caught Krevna's eye. A silent understanding passed between them. The first phase of his plan had worked. He had created division among the Vralthax leadership and positioned himself as too valuable to kill. Now Earth knew about the threat, and the Vralthax knew about their own vulnerability. But the most dangerous part of his plan was just beginning. He would need to convince an entire species that had built its empire on enslavement that cooperation was their only path to survival. 3 weeks passed with Alex confined to a high-security chamber. The room had been converted into a small laboratory where he worked under constant guard. Krevna and Vexlar visited daily to monitor his progress as he refined the modified enzyme treatment. The latest test results are promising, Vexlar announced as he entered Alex's chamber. The genetic stabilization in the sample tissues exceeds our most optimistic projections. As I said it would, Alex replied calmly. Over the weeks, he had earned a measure of respect from the senior scientist. Krevna followed with her own report. The Supreme Council wishes to meet with you. They have reviewed all the evidence and wish to discuss possibilities. This was what Alex had been waiting for, a chance to speak with the Vralthak's leadership directly. His plan was moving forward. Later that day, guards escorted Alex to a massive chamber deep within the facility. 7 elderly Vralthaks with ornate scale patterns sat behind a curved table. These were the Supreme Council, the rulers of the vast Vralthak's empire. Commander Drazkor stood to one side, his posture rigid with barely contained fury. He had fought against this meeting, but the council had overruled him. "Approach, human," the Central Council member said. His scales were pale blue with age. "I am First Elder Zinvex. You claim to hold the solution to our genetic crisis." "I do," Alex confirmed, "and I've demonstrated its effectiveness." "Indeed," another council member agreed. "The data is compelling. But this raises many questions. The most pressing, why would you help the species that enslaved you?" Alex had prepared carefully for this moment. "Because extinction is too severe a punishment for ignorance. Your people believed humans were simple creatures. You were wrong, but that error doesn't warrant your destruction." "A surprisingly merciful view," Zinvex noted. "Mercy is a strength, not a weakness," Alex replied. "Humans understand this. We have fought our own wars, made our own mistakes. We learned that cooperation often yields better results than conquest." Drazkor stepped forward. "This human speaks pretty words while plotting against us. The transmission he sent will bring human warships to Zorketh." "If that were my intention," Alex countered, "I would have sabotaged your research beyond repair. Instead, I provided the correct solution." A new alarm suddenly blared through the chamber. A Vralthak's officer rushed in and whispered urgently to Drazkor, whose scales darkened with alarm. "Multiple vessels have entered our system," Drazkor announced. "They match no known configuration, but their trajectory suggests Earth origin." The council chamber erupted in concerned murmurs. Zinvex raised a hand for silence. "It seems your people have responded more quickly than anticipated," the First Elder said to Alex. "They would have received my transmission about 2 weeks ago," Alex explained. "Earth has been preparing for possible alien contact for decades. They would have accelerated those preparations once they knew humans had been taken." "Your transmission," Drazkor accused. "You've brought war to our homeworld." "Not necessarily," Alex insisted. "What did I send? Information about your species, your technology, your biology, and the enzyme modification protocol that could save you. Does that sound like a call for war?" The chamber fell silent as the council members exchanged glances. "What would you suggest, human?" Zinvex asked. "Open communication," Alex said simply. "Acknowledge your mistake in treating sentient beings as specimens. Offer to release all enslaved species as a gesture of good faith. Propose cooperation rather than conflict." "Weakness," Drazkor shouted. "Our military can destroy these human vessels." "Can it?" Alex questioned. "You don't know their capabilities. And remember, they now understand your biology. They could weaponize the very enzyme your scientists have been misusing." This statement sent a visible shudder through the council. What Alex didn't mention was that he had included this specific warning in his transmission, along with his hope that it wouldn't be necessary. "The human has a point," one of the council members admitted reluctantly. A communication officer entered the chamber. "First Elder, the approaching vessels are hailing us. They request to speak with someone named Alex Mason if he still lives." Alex smiled. "You see? Not an attack, a rescue mission." After hurried discussion, the council made their decision. Alex was brought to the facility's main communication center. On the large screen appeared the face of Commander Olivia Bennett of the United Earth Defense Force. "Dr. Mason," she said, relief evident in her voice. "Are you all right?" "I'm fine, Commander," Alex replied, "though I've had an interesting few months. We received your transmission. The President has authorized me to take all necessary action to secure your release and ensure Earth's safety." Her expression hardened. "We are prepared for any outcome." Alex turned to the council members who had accompanied him. "This is your moment of choice, war or peace, extinction or survival." First, Elder Zinvex stepped forward. "I am First Elder Zinvex of the Vralthax Imperium. We wish to discuss terms for cooperation." The negotiations that followed lasted days. The human fleet remained in orbit around Zorkath, not attacking, but not retreating either. Their very presence was a powerful statement. Earth had not come unprepared. Commander Bennett revealed that Earth had indeed developed a biological agent based on Alex's information. It would not kill the Vralthax directly, but would accelerate their genetic degradation beyond any hope of repair. They had not deployed it, but its existence ensured the Vralthax took the negotiations seriously. The final agreement, which would later be known as the Mason Accord, contained several key provisions. First, all enslaved species would be freed immediately and returned to their homeworlds if they wished. Second, the Vralthax would renounce involuntary servitude throughout their empire, recognizing all sentient species as equals. Third, Earth would provide the correct enzyme therapy to address the Vralthax genetic crisis, under supervision of a multi-species scientific council. Fourth, a coalition of formerly enslaved species would monitor compliance with these terms. As Alex prepared to board the Earth vessel 3 weeks later, Krevna approached him. "Your strategy was remarkable," she said. "You could have destroyed us. Instead, you forced us to change." "Sometimes the best way to defeat an enemy is to make them a friend," Alex replied. "Will your people honor the agreement?" Krevna asked. "Will they truly help us survive?" "They will," Alex assured her. "And I'll be returning as part of the scientific team. This isn't an ending. It's a beginning." 6 months later on Earth, Alex stood at the podium of the newly established Interspecies Research Institute. Before him sat representatives from 27 formerly enslaved species and a delegation of Vralthax scientists, including Krevna and Vexlar. "Today marks a new chapter in galactic history," Alex began. "We gather not as conquerors and conquered, not as masters and slaves, but as equals united by a common goal, survival through cooperation." As he spoke, Alex reflected on the irony of it all. The Vralthax had enslaved one human, believing him to be a simple specimen. That single mistake had nearly led to their extinction. Instead, it had forced an evolution, not of their biology, but of their civilization. Sometimes, Alex thought, the most powerful weapon wasn't destruction, but transformation.